We're joined by SABC News political editor Mzwandile Mbeje in studio. Mzwandile, thank you so much for your time. If there is a case to answer next week, what does that mean for President Cyril Ramaphosa?
Well, it will obviously politically, that will be huge because it will basically say to South Africans, here is your president who has something to respond to. So instead of him carrying out his normal duties, so clearly there are some issues with him. Is he to be trusted? So it will also give the ammunition, particularly to political parties like ATM, who have basically said they've provided so much evidence that they hope something implicating him, if you like, will come out. So politically, it will really do something negative to the ANC. In fact, 2 days ago, we spoke to the Treasurer General, who is the Acting Secretary General, who said in that event, they may have to call a very special meeting to be able to craft a response because this will weigh heavily on them politically.
I was going to ask you, have you given much thought to the significance of this, the debate happening next week ahead of the ANC elective conference? Does it give his detractors something to go with, or is it just a little bit too little time for them to build something?
Well, depending on really what's in the report. If the report basically says there's nothing here, so clearly, of course, the political opponents will still find something. But I think they will be in a stronger position. And in fact, the president, will be in a much stronger position because he will basically say, I have followed through the process. I have subjected myself to every process that is laid out in the country or in parliament. So this is what the process says. What do you want me to do? And of course, as I've said, politically, then he would emerge even stronger. And he is a few days away from the conference. We know that he's been nominated for the position of the president, and he actually even is leading in those nominations. So clearly, that will put him in an even stronger position because there'll be no wave of suspicion. Except that there are still agencies that are still investigating. So we don't know what will be the end around those. But if this report basically says there's nothing, he becomes even stronger politically towards Nasrec. Okay,
so the report comes out, and I'm sure, political editor, you're definitely going to be reading it.
Of course.
For the public, we don't know what's in the report. Yeah. What should the public then be thinking about? You mentioned the issue of trust as well that might come to the fore, but what else should the public be thinking about as they also may be curious to see what's in the report?
You know, what makes this more interesting or curious for South Africans, it's because if, for example, there are allegations that point to the serious offense that the president may have committed, or he may have violated the law. So that will basically mean then the proceedings or the process towards his removal would begin. And that gives a great anxiety to the country. So to have the president removed, that will be something that is, what we've seen with the ANC processes. But if it's a process of the country that does that, it even becomes more serious. That's why the public is very invested in this. They want to know what's happening to their president. So is their president someone they can trust? Is their president someone they can look up to? So that is why, for them, they really want to see what kind of a leader do we have.
Well, we'll definitely be waiting for that report, and I know we'll be talking to you tomorrow to unpack it a little bit further. But Mzwandile, thank you so much for your time. That is political editor Mzwandile Mbeje talking to us about what we should be expecting depending on what comes out of that particular report.